Brand spanking new factory F20 Short Block. Don't know if you guys have ever seen a brand new short block from Honda. This one has been purchased 2004. Obviously it's gonna burn off, but we want to try and get the majority of it off. We're going to assemble this, get it ready. He's bringing his car in a few months, or if we get him in sooner, but we want to get this one assembled. I think I got all the grease out now. Of course it's going to preserve it, but there's still a little bit in there. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. So the cylinder head he provided has been gone through. It's got what, Crowler springs and retainers.
Yep.
It's being ported and cleaned up
By Alana's or Alana's.
Okay.
Not sure that is.
No.
Give that a Google, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, it looks like it's nicely done though.
Yeah.
We're going to be assembling this. He's got a new head gasket. I don't know what else he has. Some of the other parts are going to come off his car. He's going to bring the car in. So whatever isn't here, we'll take off his motor. They look like Supertech valves, don't they?
Yeah. Well, two different styles because it's got dish and flats.
Yeah, it's interesting. The combustion chambers are nice and clean.
Oh yeah.
All smoothed out. Yeah, this thing hasn't been run either. It's just been built and assembled.
Yep.
So it was a real score him finding this. I'm not going to give you the details, but he did a lot of searching and someone had all of this, the block, the head, a few other parts. A few parts we still need. He's got a head gasket. He has all new head bolts. And again, you look how old this is. This is stuff that was purchased in 04 and it's just sat. But they're still new, they're sealed. He has a head gasket. It doesn't have the dowels. So to be able to put that on, the dowels are obviously the centering part of the head, an absolute must. You can't put it on without the dowels. If not, the head could be off a little bit, and obviously you're going to have a head gasket problem. So we have some dowels, we'll just put it on his list. Nothing like the 2000 service manual, so we can double check all of our specs as we're putting together. Brand new head bolts, which they do require a 3-step torquing sequence, which I'll show you here in a second. It shows right here the dowels. That's what I was telling you about. That helps the gasket hold perfectly in line. Don't forget your Honda Bond right here, or apply liquid gasket as they call it. This is your torque sequence, so it's important if you're doing brand new head bolts, which we are. You've got the first step of 22 pounds right here, and then we're going to do 3 steps of 90. If you're reusing your bolts, 2 steps. If you got brand new bolts, you're going to do a 3rd step. Is the gasket in good shape?
Doesn't have any like kinks or anything, and it's like a little like rounded, like from being in that box for a while.
Yeah,
but it's not like a,
look at this thing. It's like dinosaurs.
Doesn't have a hard crease in it or anything. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And that's, I counted them. That's a wrong bolt.
Yeah.
See the part number? Should be PCX. Also, look at the head.
Yeah, I opened it and saw that. I'm like, that's not right.
Well, that sucks.
So I'll go upstairs and see if we have any more.
By the time you see this video, we'll have these available in the store. It's going to be for your TCT bolts. This one didn't come with bolts, so we're supplying them. I'm going to use this time where we can take some pics of it with it being a real nice motor. But basically, it's going to match all the rest of the bolts that we offer for the motor. He wanted a Dash 8 drain welded on the pan. That's what we're going to do right now. So this is a ported head. We're going to port match a manifold. We're basically going to use a manifold as a core, then he's going to swap it out. This is a valve cover he gave us just to keep the thing clean. It isn't the final valve cover. He has a blue one that we painted already to match the spoon calipers. So we're port matching this to the manifold, then we're going to port the manifold all the way through and do a quick refinish, make it look nice, so when it goes in, it looks as nice as the motor. Saturday night, 10:26. Me and Sebastian, hey buddy.
Hey.
We're heading to the shop. We have to meet a customer. I feel like I'm making a habit of this. This is the 3rd time in a row meeting a customer at night in the dark, dropping off a car. But you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Not always can the customer get there during work hours, and sometimes you got to lie to your wife and say you're going to the store to pick up some bread. Meanwhile, you're avoiding brush on the side of the road from the last hurricane. So let's go ahead, get to the shop. You guys are not surprised, are you? You knew it was an S2000. All right, car is unloaded. I joke about it, but my wife doesn't want me working all hours of the day and night, because I did that for pretty much halfway through Sebastian's life. I was always gone, working 7 days a week. So anyway, he's dropped it off. It's almost 11 right now. I gotta load something in my truck and then help him with the trailer, and then I'm on my way home. 11:10, heading home. What are you gonna do when we get home, buddy?
Brush my teeth, go to sleep.
I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm wore out. I've been working today. Engine's pretty much assembled, so we're going to put a new thermostat in. If you saw the last video of the white car, trims are working now, trying to bleed the system. We're wondering if the thermostat is stuck, so it's not cooling correctly. We think the thermostat might be stuck. We not only have to do a thermostat after, we have to put a thermal switch in it too, so just to save us labor and save him labor money, it's easy to get to. It's right there. 2 bolts. I haven't done much filming. We've been kind of busy putting this together, and you've seen us do it a million times. So the video went up yesterday that I talked about, should we replace a thermostat every time we replace a motor? And the answer is yes. So I didn't say it clearly, I guess, but the thermostat was out of the motor that came in the car. The engine that we're putting in is a brand new Honda engine and didn't come with a thermostat, so it's never been ran. So that's the one that came out of this motor. This motor is locked up, by the way. He thinks that it spun a bearing or the thrust bearings gave out, so he's going to take this home. Did install a new clutch. After seeing this, we can see it wasn't 100% broken, and you can see it's got full contact. These are a floating pressure plate, but what happens is whatever part is touching the most and you run it, it gets hot and it basically glazes the disc. So this is something we were changing anyway, was the flywheel. We're putting a slightly heavier flywheel in because these tend to be a little oversensitive. This is a really light flywheel. So with a supercharger, we recommend either an AP1 or an AP2. Actually, it's a little bit smoother, but we're putting a whole new clutch in. The bearing was still in good shape. It is a Nachi bearing, so it is our favorite bearing. Not a problem with that, but if we're putting a whole clutch in, we do the whole thing. Also, a new drain line. This line is a little stiff, and we've seen these over here leak, so we changed this and put a better quality fitting on there and a new hose. We're going to put conventional oil in it, with it being a new engine. We want to give the rings a chance to break in. We're trickle charging the battery right now, hence why there's no battery in it. That's pretty much it. We should be able to start it up here. Everything's back together. It's got coolant, and this is some fresh water here so we can watch it mix. It all went back in, so we should be good. It's got fresh oil in it, which is conventional oil, because I think I mentioned that already. Yep. There she goes. It's always amazing when you see an engine that you built from nothing. You put it together, you hit the key and it runs. I know it sounds kind of goofy. The factories do it every day, but back in the day, the amount of times we put a motor together and then spend half the day trying to make it fire up. Beautiful. Okay, so we ran into a problem after finishing it. When it was idling here, we're checking everything and checking the AC, and everything was good, but it had a slight tapping. We're chasing this tapping. We found a little bit, you can't really see it, but it was in this area here, and here, a little bit of metal shavings, aluminum, nothing else in here. You see everything here is clean and dry. There's nothing over on this end. And these are the shavings right here. And it's definitely aluminum. It's soft. And then we saw this in here. I left it back in there so we don't lose it. We're trying to identify this. kind of hard to pick up. It's like it's a roller of some kind, and we don't recognize that from what we see. Someone's going to ask about doing the oil drain. Yes, we welded it on the inside and the outside before the pan was ever together. I know someone's going to ask, hey, did you guys do that? Like I say, light tapping. This doesn't look like bearing material at all. We're pulling the bottom end apart so we can check on that. Let me show you the valve cover. Here's the valve cover, same thing. This is on the timing gear side. Nothing anywhere else, just here. And it's the same aluminum. So we're still trying to find out where this came from. We're pulling all the rockers out right now because we want to confirm that that wasn't anything out of these rockers. So this roller here is larger. It's smaller than that, but it's along the lines of that size. They say this was all supplied by him. It was new. But for those to escape, it would have to come out of either there.
Yeah, one's got to be broken for it to come
or come
out.
from there. We've seen these break before where they have a break through here, but we've never seen them scatter rollers. And I'm hard-pressed thinking that that's it, because the diameter of that roller, we'll get one that's open, it can't fit between that tube there and this outer, you know what I mean? This is the only thing we can see right here. This has some markings on it, and inside here there's some slight scraping. It's almost like that pin made it around here, got stuck between that and the valve cover and shaved some of the aluminum off there, because nothing else has any damage. This is one of our cams. So the end plate here has a pin in the end, which looks very much like a Woodruff key, but it's a pin. Now there should be no reason why any of this should come apart, but you never know. We just want to look at the diameter, right?
No.
So if it is, does that mean it's missing out of his, or somebody gave him an extra one?
No, it's way small.
Yeah.
I just knew there was a pin in there somewhere.
Let me get it to focus, just for the viewers at home. Viewers like you. Yeah, it's probably half the diameter of that. Look at that, we just pushed it in to see if it lines up, and that's the boy right there. It's basically a Woodruff key, and it fell out, and as you see, it contacted that bolt on its way out, shaved a little bit, and fell in the pan. Like I say, it just started tapping. I mean, we're sitting here idling, checking the numbers on the AC when it did that. So luckily we wasn't full tilt. So we're feeling a little sketched out by that piece. Now we know what's out of there. George's taking it apart. This is his old motor, doing it left-handed here. We're gonna take his apart and take the gear off this. That way we can make sure we know how that pin goes in, because it's not something that we have played with before. We've never, the floor is hot. We've never had to take that out. So we don't know if that pin is pressed in or not. So now is a good time just to kind of educate ourselves. All right, see if I can get this thing out one-handed. So this is the one I just removed off his old motor. It looks to be in good shape. If you'd ever take one of these apart, you can just pull this cover off and you can take a look. I take this part off too. I've never had one of these things fall apart. So there is the pin. You can see it goes through there, but I guess it's just pressed in. We've never had one of these apart, have we?
No.
I mean, we've built hundreds of motors. We've just...
Pretty sure they come like that in the Honda package.
Yeah. We've even installed new gears when somebody had a chipped tooth and it looked just like this. We've never said, hey, let's knock that pin out and see what its story is. We said, okay, there's the gear. Put it on. So there it is. That one came out. And if you look down there closely, you'll see that it's not quite lined up. So that pin might not have been pressed in enough. And when it did come out, it got stuck between the head of that bolt and the case. And that's our aluminum shavings. I just cleaned the pan and cleaned the valve cover. The valve cover only had shavings on the gear side of things. Everything else is clean. We're going to pull the pump and check the pump. I mean, we're this far into it, we may as well, but isn't that weird? I mean, we have literally tore half the motor apart for a pin, and we've never seen that before.
plastic thing would help you.
Yeah, I usually get this guy, jam it in here. This is what I call a shut back. And then stick your thumb in there, right? I think it was like 3 months ago, we were all proud about putting Honda Bond on here and letting it sit for a couple of days. You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ain't gonna happen this time.
Nope.
I think we're gonna have to put it together and let it sit as long as it takes to put the rest of the motor together and start it, make sure it's happy. If you're gonna put the pan on, I'll put this stuff on, start putting the top end together. And we're not gonna hit him up with too much overtime, hopefully. Tensioner, I've already pre-tensioned it. That's his old gear. These are the cam towers. These are all the parts that can go on now. So we'll touch base with you at the end. Pretty much like it never happened. It's all back together. Last thing we gotta do is put a new filter and oil on there. We're gonna use conventional oil again. Want to get a little bit of break-in. Perfect time to tell you about our tools. You've probably seen them. Oil filter wrench, cap wrench. We use these things every single day. You see how dirty our stuff is? And we put our own engraved on there. And then of course our funnel. Makes oil changing so much easier. Trust me. You'll love changing oil here. So we're verifying everything's good. We're letting it idle down. We'll listen to it. It's kind of a long day, but it's good that it sounds nice now. Listen to that. That's beautiful. Wow, long day. It's the next day. We just did a little bit of testing with this car, make sure it's happy and it's just smooth as can be. So I didn't mention this earlier, but this, we put an MP2 flywheel in. On a supercharged car, the MP2 flywheels do run a little bit smoother because there's a bit more inertia in the flywheel. Also, I noticed kinetic energy, so AC is on right now. So when you rev it, it's got a little bit of energy stored that it doesn't idle down as fast, and then the idle valve has a hard time controlling it. So it is actually smoother. Definitely a good idea if you're doing a supercharged car. Naturally aspirated or turbo car, AC is off. I still like the AP1. I wouldn't go anything lighter than an AP1, but this is nice. It's got conventional oil in it. This is full of fresh gas. So I think I'm gonna recommend he put about maybe a couple of 100 miles on it and do an oil change. This is the sound of the blower, by the way. They are kind of noisy. And do a fresh oil change again with conventional, just to make sure there's anything that could be in there, we get it out. And then give it about 1,000, maybe 750. Then you can put synthetic in there. But idle's super smooth. I've shown you this so many times in the past. You want to make sure it's not popping or stuttering in there, but just nice. I mean, I know it was a big thing that we could get this done for him, and of course for us. You know, you never want to see someone's car have an issue. You want to give it back to them and make them happy. So we're happy with this one. Glad to see this one done. Guys, December 21st, we are having an LHT meet. We're calling this one the LHT Mega Meet because it's going to be the biggest one we've done. It's at Quaker Steak, December 21st. It is a Saturday. That means you can come in Saturday, come to the meet, stay the night at the hotel. There's a hotel right behind it, so if you want to have a couple of brewskis, no worry about driving. The hotel's right there. Drive home on the Sunday. Be safe, have fun, come and meet us. We're going to have some Moto Compactos there. We do have some guys coming with some Honda Ruckuses and maybe some of the earlier Hondas that you might not have seen in a long time. All cars and trucks welcome. See you there, December 21st, LHT Mega Meet.